That's what I worry about between now and the election is do they try to push us to World War III? And obviously, you have things popping off between Iran and Israel right now, and it seems like the war drums are beginning to beat as we get closer to the election. And is that the last gasp of ugliness that we get from this regime, or are they successful in corralling people into backing a wartime regime to make sure that we get some peace, or make sure that we get some peace?
I've been saying for a while that I don't think that we're going to have war with Iran. I think it's the proxy wars are enough. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the fight against the Houthis, the fight against Hezbollah, the hatred for Bashar al-Assad. And these are just basically proxy wars with Iran. And one of the reasons is I've studied Iran and I've studied like their topography. Like going to war with Iran, the only way they'd be able to do it is with nukes. They're not going to be able to do it with ground forces. They're not going to be able to do it with aircraft because they have this range of mountains with Russian anti-aircraft technology all throughout it. I mean, they just have to go for nukes. We don't even. There's not even a place to stage properly. We'd have to reinvade Iraq. Turkey won't allow us. Won't allow us to stage. The only other possible Afghanistan is not going to allow us to stage. The only other possible place is Saudi. Saudi. I mean, the sorties would. You'd be telegraphing yourself where you're coming from. There's no way to go to war with Iran outside of nukes. And I think nukes could be intercepted because of just where, if you look at where Tehran is on a map and you look at the surrounding areas, you just realize how perfectly situated they are. And I mean, this isn't me just saying this because it's my opinion. You know, I look back at the assassination of Soleimani by Trump and how after that, like a couple of days after they did that, Iran bombed a Iraqi base, a U.S. base in Iraq, and they just dropped some bombs on it. And Trump even went so far as to say, "Look, they had to save face. They did that." And it was the same thing when when Israel, I think they bombed the Iranian embassy in Damascus earlier this year, and they killed a couple of generals. And then Iran sent the drones to at Israel, which landed in the desert and landed nowhere. Or I guess everyone now is waiting for the Iran retaliation over what happened with the head of Hamas. I can't remember his name. I would assume it's going to be the same thing. It'll just be some kind of kayfabe. And it really makes me wonder what exactly this is all about. I mean, when you consider that Israel was selling Iran weapons in the 1980s, and then, it became, Iran's 5 weeks away from having a nuke and everything. I just don't see it. I mean, what I see is I just see continued war with Hezbollah, and I don't even know if Israel can win a war with Hezbollah. Hezbollah is formidable. So, and then they're basically fighting a forefront war right now. I don't know that. The way I look at it is, if they were to try to really, if the United States were to get involved while Biden is still president, and let's put that in quotes, it would be against his will. He wouldn't want that. Harris would definitely not want that. Trump doesn't want that. People can say everything they want about Trump. So, the most Zionist president ever, Jerusalem. So, I mean, Trump is just another one of those guys who's just like, war is bad for business. It's better. Let's just make weapons. I mean, that's the one place where I'm white pilled. I don't see war with Iran. I worry way more about what's happening with Russia, because there's a war happening on their border, and Ukraine is launching missiles into Russia, and they're killing Russians. And it seems like this White House or this regime is starting to distance himself from them. And I think one of the reasons why that would possibly happen, I think you could still see some cash infusions, but I think all it will be is just basically money laundering and just getting money to people. None of that money, it makes it to actually Ukraine. It just goes to our military industrial complex, and then they send things over there. And I'm sure money gets diverted in other places. Yeah, I'm worried about Russia, and I'm, very happy, glad that Vladimir Putin is the president of Russia and Sergei Lavrov is his foreign minister, because they have way more patience than I would. I would hate. Ukraine would not exist right now if I was president of Russia. It wouldn't exist. And, I'm just glad that there's somebody like Vladimir Putin there, because he is showing amazing restraint, considering everything that they've done to try and drag him into seemingly like World War III.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I heard or saw a headline last week that Zelensky's open to peace talks. It seems like he's even exacerbated. He's seeing that the money's probably not coming to support.
He doesn't want to end up like it. He doesn't want to end up like Gaddafi. Yeah. And I'm hoping he does. But
yeah. I mean, you mentioned one of the things you're white pilled about, but if little tech Trump were to get back into office and were to go forth and try to execute on their plan to fix what's broken, particularly in this country, like, do you have confidence in them being able to do that? And if so, like, what do you think this means for America headed towards the 2030s? Like, do you think we could experience a renaissance and actually get away from this woke mind virus and get back to work and begin fixing the country and the systemic issues that exist within it?
I don't think the woke... well, these people really do hate DEI, because DEI is, just... one thing, when you study these little tech guys, you understand that they're all about competence. They're competent people.
That was my favorite line from I actually wrote it down. I think you said in the middle of that episode, these people cherish confidence or competency, excuse me. And,
look at the business they're in. They need competent people. So I'm pretty sure I know they hate DEI because of that, because they're forced to hire people who are incompetent. The woke mind virus, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that they can, like I said, this regime has been in place for, 100 years now, a little less than 100 years. It's dying. I mean, anybody who says it's not is not really paying attention. But there's a chance it could take another 100 years to die.
Hey, do you still have your Bitcoin on an exchange? Don't hold your Bitcoin on an exchange. Take it into self-custody. If you're looking for an easy way to do that, we have the BitKey. BitKey is Bitcoin made easy to use and hard to lose. Take the first step. Get your Bitcoin off the exchange. Check out the link in the show notes. That'll get you 20% off your BitKey, or use the code TFTC20 at checkout.